Let's see how good you are at animal sounds. Ready?
Ooh.
Raccoon. Panda?
Pandas don't make noises.
What do they just eat?
They just eat, and they like the leaves ruffle.
Okay, and then the macaw? That's my favorite. And we are live, folks. Welcome to the Sit Down Standard. My name's David. I'm joined, as always, by my favorite board gamer, my wife, Alyssa.
Hello.
And today we're taking a look at the 2 to 4 player animal deck building game, Dale of Merchants from Snowdale Design. In this game, players are going to be competing as different animals, trying to build up their deck so that they can become the best merchant and get into the extraordinary guild of traders. But before we determine who's the best, let's talk about what's included in the game. Take it away, Alyssa.
All right, since it's a deck game, you're going to get a deck of cards.
Yep.
And it's going to be broken down into 2 different sets. Your first set is going to contain your animal folk cards. And there's 6 different types of animals that you can be. You can be pandas, raccoons,
chameleons,
ocelots, and so forth.
Yeah, there's flying squirrels, lots of great ones to choose from.
Awesome ones to choose from. And then your second type of card is going to be your junk or rubbish cards that you're going to be playing with as well. In addition, you're going to get a customized die.
Yeah, that's for the lucky ocelots. They get a specific die for them. And then you also get a
market board. This is where your animal folk cards will be placed out for you to purchase throughout the game.
Yeah, so you can actually build up your deck. So the way the game is played, again, it's a deck building game. So you essentially there's 6 different animal decks to choose from. So you take as many decks of those cards as equal to the players plus 1. So for our 2-player game, we pick 3 different animals. You start out with every card on the card will have a value on it. So each player gets a 1 card value of each of those. In our case, the 3 animal decks that we chose. Then you shuffle up all the rest. And then you start out with those 3 cards plus 7 cards from the junk pile. Now,
or as many as you need to get 10 in your deck.
Right, depending on how many players. But those rubbish or those trash cards essentially kind of clog up your deck. They're worth 1 point, but they really don't do anything else. But the way you win this game is by placing cards in front of you. They're called stalls, like if you're your merchant stalls. And you've got to get the first person to place 8 stalls in front of them using those value cards. Remember, the cards have different value numbers on them, from 1 to 8. Now, the trick is like your first stall will have to be worth 1 point, your second stall worth 2 points, your third stall, and so on and so forth till you get to 8. But the trick is that you have to use the same animal folk cards in each one of those stalls, meaning the blue cards can only go with the blue cards, the green cards can only make up the green card stall for that one.
And they have to be and you have to lay it down in chronological order.
Yes. So that's pretty much what you're trying to do throughout the game, but that's pretty much where the game actually becomes, it's a lot of interaction in this game. With the deck building, you can either, on your turn, you're either going to build one of those pre-mentioned stalls that we talked about. You can buy cards from that market board. Each turn, the market board, if someone bought something, will be refilled. There's cards that range from as low as 2 value to buy or 5 value to buy. So you can buy cards. You can also play cards. Each one of the cards will have essentially an action ability, and there's a lot of take that. There's a lot of deck manipulation, depending on the type of animals you start with. And that's actually what's really unique about this game. Each one of the animals actually has kind of its own synergy with its particular deck. So for instance, my favorite is the lucky ocelots because they create havoc. They have a die in it, so they're the only deck that actually has a die. So there's a lot of luck, obviously, with the lucky ocelots.
I really liked the chameleons because they form into what you need them to be.
Right, they copy other cards.
They copy other cards, like if there's one on the top of the discard pile or one in the market you need or one in that you've already played, like you can adapt it to that action.
Yeah, so there's a lot of theming here. For instance, the flying squirrels have the ability to kind of use some of that trash, just like any good squirrel, use trash to help them. So you can use some of those rubbish cards to help build your stalls. So it really has this great variety. Each time you play it, because you're going to select which animal decks you want to use, you're going to get this kind of different experience each time. So after basically, again, whoever gets to that first 8th stall immediately wins the game.
And it should be said that when you place out your stalls, if you're doing your row of 2, you have to place out the full value of 2.
Yeah, you can't go back and keep, you have to build the full value. So if you're trying to build your 5th stall, you have to put out a value of 5, and exactly 5.
And that's what makes, I think, the game actually more complicated.
Well, yeah, it does make it it has a little bit more meat to like a traditional deck building game. There are some things that are a little bit different in this game. For instance, a lot of times in most deck building games, when you buy a card from that center row, that goes immediately in your discard pile.
Right.
In this game, it actually comes to your hand. So that's Dale of Merchant. Let's. I think we've talked about how to play it. Let's do our standard review. So
All right.
thumbs out. Now remember, thumbs up is a great game. Thumbs to the side is a good game, and thumbs down is a bad game. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. See?
Woo! We're swip swaps today.
I know. So I
Well,
think
you go first.
yeah, let me go first. This is a great game. Now, for a couple reasons. One is I love deck building games. They're one of my favorite types of games to play. But this game gives you, usually in deck building, like I talked about, you don't. When you purchase a card, it has to go to your discard pile, and then you have to wait to get it. And I always want to use what I just bought. So this game gives me that, and it allows me to mitigate some of the luck that occurs with having to draw cards from the after they get used up in the discard pile, shuffling them and putting back into my draw pile. In this game, I know what's going to be in my hand for the very next turn, which will help me build that stall that I need to. Again, I love the artwork in here. Again, it's got that whimsical, very cute. It reminds me of children's books, the artwork for all the different animals. And I love that each animal actually fits that type of animal. The lucky ocelots get to do all the lucky stuff. The chameleons copy. The macaws it's just every deck has its own unique abilities. So there's deck manipulation, there's one that have more player interactions, there's one that kind of have a comboing effect. So it really does have that same type of feel as you get from some of the best deck building games where you can really focus on one particular strategy or use two to your advantage. So for me, this is a fantastic game. It's a great gateway game for deck building too, because I absolutely love, again, deck building games, but some of them are a little bit heavy. This one is very easy to learn. It doesn't take too long to play, probably about half an hour to play. So again, great for me. Now, why is this not a great game for you? Why is it just, or why? What did you like about it?
What did I like? Okay, so for me, I liked the artwork of the game. I love deck building games. So to be able to pick the cards that you want in your deck I really appreciate that. The things that, though, kind of frustrated me was that you had to, give up good cards to get another card. And it was like, I bought my deck build up, but now I'm going to have to lose this card if I need this card for the value down the road.
Right.
And there was no way around that.
Yeah, sometimes there's strategies that you kind of go towards, and then either the player or just the cards that come out kind of put a wrench in the spokes, so to say. But I like that you can kind of control with the decks what type of game you're going to play. If you have people who don't enjoy take that card games,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you choose the decks you want to use, so you would leave the ocelots out.
Yeah, if you want to not create as much havoc in the game, you leave the lucky ocelots out. So you can kind of gear this game towards the type of gaming group that you have. If they like more player interaction, more take that, or if they want something that's more of kind of a race game where everyone's trying to race to build those stalls first without as much player interaction, you can go that route too. So it's customizable, which is really great about the game. Once you play it enough, you'll kind of learn what each one of the decks do.
And I liked that. So all of the cards have values, and instead of being able to make a stall with just any color and any value, you had to stick to your animal folk for each stall, which added another layer to the game.
Yeah, add some strategy to it. So again, a fantastic game. For me, I think it's an absolute pickup. For Melissa, maybe it's a try it maybe before you buy it. But right now they have a Kickstarter going on where they're coming out with Dale of Merchants 2. So right now you can actually go to their Kickstarter page. What we'll do is we'll put a link right here. So if this sounds like something you would be interested, you can actually pledge right now on their Kickstarter. You can pick up a copy of the expansion, which actually includes 6 new decks, animal decks, which plays as a standalone game, or of course you can mix it with the original game.
Awesome.
So right now you can pick up a copy of the second version of it for $27. That includes the shipping in the U.S. Or you can actually pick up both. You can pick up a copy of the original as well as the new one, which actually comes with a bunch of new animals: owls, sloths, platypuses, which I had to look up. It's not platypi, everybody. Foxes, polecats, and crocodiles. So I'm sure each one of those cards has its own unique abilities and strategies within that, just as like the original did. So you can pick up the original as well as the second one, again, for $47. That includes the shipping here in the U.S. Again, for me, I would definitely pick it up. That's Dale of Merchant from Snowdale Design. Until next time, bye.
See ya.